We've been talking about volume and figuring out using length times width times height, or doing the layers. And today's lesson 1.8 is measuring volume by iterating those layers. So our objective is I can and will be able to relate volume to multiplication and addition by thinking about repeating layers to find the volume of prisms, so that I will be able to find the volume of this prism right here. It says how many cubes can Ed's box hold? So what we're going to start off with is looking at a prism on page 22. It says it's titled Prism G. And you'll see that I have on here, I have a table, and I see the letter G is at the top. And I see that we have different columns. We have rectangular prism, and it tells you the letter. We have number of cubes in one layer, the number of layers, and then total number of cubes that fill that prism. And then finally, the last one, the volume of the prism. So I'm going to show you how I work with this prism, and this should be building off of yesterday's work in lesson 1.7. So we're going to fill out this chart here together. And again, we're on page 22 in your math journal. And I'm going to look at the number of cubes in a layer. So I see that they have the entire base of G filled. So this one is pretty straightforward for us. We should be able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 cubes in the first layer. Now it asks us how many layers. So it's actually asking us how tall is this prism. So I'm going to count. I'll change the color so we can see the difference. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers total. We have to count that first layer as our total, okay? Because we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now it's asking me the total number of cubes to fill the entire prism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, and I like to write this in there, I'm going to actually multiply 10 times 5, because I know I've got 10 in one layer and I have 5 layers. So I'm going to take 10 times 5, and that's going to give me a total of 50 cubes to fill the entire prism. And so what is the volume? We know that in the past lesson, when we're using these cubic units, it is the same as our volume. So we know that the volume of prism G is 50 cubic units. So we are taking the number in one layer, multiplying it by the number of layers, and getting the total number. The way we're doing this connects to the formula, and this is something we're going to continue talking about. But the formula is a capital B times height. And capital B stands for area of base. So again, capital B stands for area of the base. So we know that we did the length times the width to get 10. So 5 times 2 is 10. Get that capital B times the number of layers. And again, this is just checking our work here. Okay, calculating volume is related to both multiplication and addition, because we could have taken 10 and added it 5 times. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your job now is to turn to page 22 and 23. If you're not there, complete both those pages, come back and check your work with me. So you will see, we are going to, these are the answers that you should have gotten. Prism G we did together. So H should have been a total of 128 cubic units. Rectangular prism I, 120 cubic units. Rectangular prism J, 105 cubic units. Rectangular prism K, 125. And then finally, rectangular prism L, 140 cubic units. If you had trouble with any of these, you can send me a message about which prism that you are questioning. We can go over those together. And I would also like you to check out the Khan Academy videos and practice, again, that I have linked in this lesson and in previous lessons to build on today's knowledge. So this was a quick lesson. Again, measuring volume by iterating those layers. We're building on to previous days. We're relating it to multiplication and addition.